everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Hope you are all having an amazing day today. My name is Lex, and welcome back to some more GTA 5, where today I'm not in the Ruiner, but I am in a car that does have a parachute sticking out the top. No, this isn't going to be a video about a mod that adds parachutes to all the cars. We already know that sort of stuff exists. Today what I want to do is look at 4 different cars, which are actually based on 2 cars from GTA 5, that I think should be in a future muscle car-based DLC, or possibly would be in the future, because actually, as we've seen in the past, sometimes mods do sort of get inspired to be like actual cars that are in the game. So today, we're going to be looking at 4 mods, which crosses 2 cars, and these 4 cars, 4 different... There's lots of cars. Just loads of cars. Check out cars. So the 2 different cars that we're going to be checking out today is the Picador and the Gauntlet. The Picador being the El Camino type car from GTA 5, and the Gauntlet being this, which is sort of like the Dodge Charger of GTA 5 world, I would say. Again, these are all law-friendly car mods. That is to say, not that they're friendly with the policeman. That would be LAW law. What I mean is LORE, because actually I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys a bit confused when I say law-friendly. What I mean by that is like they are friendly with the base storyline or the world of GTA 5, and that they look like they belong inside of GTA 5. That's basically what they mean by law friendly. So this is the Bravado Heist Edition, and what this means is that it has this. It has a parachute that sticks out the top, just like the Ruiner. It doesn't jump like the Ruiner does. It just has the ability to have the parachute, which you have to get slightly higher than just a little jump. I mean, I can't get it from these little jumps here, but if I was to try and find a little bit of a ramp, could go ahead and do it again. But there isn't actually much we can do in terms of tuning for this thing. It's not really tunable. The whole point is that this is just like another potential car that could be in a potential future DLC, where we could have at least a better selection of heisting vehicles, because the Ruiner is, you know, it's interesting, but this is a bit more of a brutish car, you know, and like it's got all these big massive bars on it and everything else. This is like a proper ram raiding car, so to have that with the parachute ability would be at least a bit more suitable, in my opinion, for a heisting vehicle than the Ruiner, which I think is a bit more of a gimmick. So here we are. Let's just park this up. And actually, before we start tuning this up with the very small amount of mods that we do have, there's going to be some comments on the screen. If you would like your comments and questions featured, you can leave them in the comment section below. I'll pick some at random and feature them at the start of the next video. And don't forget, you can also follow me on Twitter at Figureight. Links for my Twitter are in the description below. As always, I'm always tweeting pictures of cars and, you know, cool videos that I like and all that sort of stuff. So if that's of interest to you, you can follow me on Twitter. And also, don't forget, by the way, guys, because I do have an Instagram, but I don't really plug it very often. Instagram.com/LexTube. It's a very old Instagram account. I'm trying to actually post stuff on there again. So if you're interested in following me on Instagram, there'll be a link to that in the description as well. So here we are right now with this Gauntlet Heist. So I'm going to go ahead, go to menu, vehicle options, repair vehicle, so there you can see it in its original, guys. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn in a standard Gauntlet so we can compare the 2. And there you go. So instantly what you can see is that this has much bigger wheels, bigger tires and everything else like that. It's much higher. The front end basically just has these big massive bull bars. Nothing else has changed in that regard. It's the same bonnet, it's the same bumpers, everything else like that, same grille, same lights. On the side, all the badging and stuff is there. All of that is there. But this does have this little sort of like, what would you call this? It's almost like a side step, but it's not, because it's a bar. So it's almost just like a side protective bar thing, which obviously the original Gauntlet didn't have. And then on the rear, again, this has a big spoiler for some reason. And then, again, big, massive bull bars, which this one doesn't have. And also, there's no number plate on this one, which I guess if you're doing a heisting vehicle, you probably wouldn't want to be traced. So again, it doesn't have a license plate. As far as interior goes, they're actually pretty much identical. However, this one does have some little extra bracing going on the inside with this little roll cage going on here. And also these racing seats, because that one just has the standard seats. So there's just a few little changes. Are the back seats in the same? Yeah, okay, the back seats are actually still in that one. There we go. So on for tuning options. There isn't actually anything that we could do in menus customs. There's nothing in Lorena mods. It's just basically engine, brakes, transmission, suspension. What happens if we go to suspension and then sport? Oh, it only changes it slightly, so I guess it's just so you can have some improved suspension travel, but not really changing the ride height. So we'll keep that on sport. Then apart from that, it's just wheels. What have we got in extras? Just extra 1, which I think is just this bit here. Which just hides that. So, actually, I quite like how this looks right now, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this, you know, just look a little bit better. I'm going to change the paint and change the wheels. And so, as this is supposed to be some sort of, like, heisting vehicle, I like the idea of, like, a military theme for this one. So, I'm going to go with olive drab matte. And then I might just go to the secondary color and go to matte and just go for another olive drab on the top part. And that actually changes not only the top part, but also all the bull bars and stuff as well. So, what would that look like if I was to... Oh, see, I can make that matte gray. Or we can make that desert earth. This is an interesting color scheme going on here. Or we can make that olive drab and then go back to primary and then change the color of the main part to something like desert earth. Oh, this one's actually alright. Desert tan. That's an interesting look. It's almost like it's camo, but not really. And then for the wheels, we can go off-road and pick something a little cooler. Oh, look at that. Instantly. Amazing. Although there is a little bit of brake caliper coming through. We just have to make sure we pick something like this. And it's just a shame that that red's sticking through on the back. But, however, we should be able to, hopefully, unless this is tied to the wheels, go to the V-Stancer mod. And hopefully we can go to suspension menu and just change that rear track width. Ah, okay, it's tied to the wheels. Okay, never mind. Well, we can poke that out anyway, just for a bit of fun. There we go. And maybe a bit more height, which we'll do with just the visual height. There we go. And there is our tuned heist gauntlet. Okay, so let's now move on to the second type of gauntlet. And here it is, right here. You can probably see that there are quite a few changes to this one already. So actually, I'm going to park this one up next to this one. And let's have a closer look. So, as you can see, this thing is a lot lower than this one. So what this one is like where you get the Hellcat stuff with Dodge in real life. This one is the Hellhound. You know, slightly different, still tying in with, like, not like real life, but inspired by real life stuff that GTA is based on. It's a very lore-friendly mod, again. So on the front here, you can see the changes. First of all, obviously, this big, massive, gaping hole inside the bonnet. In fact, this whole bonnet has changed. There's not so much of a big shape on this one. It's got rid of that whole sort of, like, weird stripe going up in the middle and then that block here. It's just full flat, and then this whole bit is raised instead, which I think looks amazing. Then we also have a different type of grille. This one's got a nice mesh grille, whereas this one just has the sort of bar grille on it. This one also has, as you might be able to see, no headlights in these center ones. As you can see from here, these ones actually have lights, whereas these ones just have, like, holes. So as you can see, there is that bit there, and then on this side you can see the air filter, which is pretty interesting. Then we also have on the bottom part no fog lights on the Hellhound compared to the real one, which has fog lights, and it also has a splitter at the bottom as well. Oh, and of course there's no front plate either because, well, it just looks better without it. Moving on to the side then, and you can probably tell instantly that the Hellhound has some nice wide arches on this thing compared to this one, which just has pretty much nothing, so it has big arches. This 450 CUI turbocharged badge on the side is gone. In its place, it's just got the Hellhound badging. On the back end, it doesn't have the fins on this one. This is completely smoothed out, all of the fins. I guess for some reason it just didn't need it on this one. And then moving on, we've got the gauntlet badges. That's still there. Moving on to the back, it's almost the same. We don't have this stripe going up the middle. Maybe it is there and we just have to change the colors. We'll find out in a minute. But we do have this nice little spoiler going on the top. And that seems to be pretty much the extent of the changes. There might be a couple more on the interior. There are the different wheels as well. This one has bigger wheels. This one has some smaller ones going on. On the interior, this is the interior of the standard one. This is the standard one on the Hellhound, which, as you can see, has got a Hellhound badge in the middle. But apart from that, oh, there's some bracing and it's missing a seat. So there's your options. But that might be an extra that we can change. We'll have to check that in a minute. Whereas, as you can see, this one just has none of it. So, what can we change to this one? Let's just go to Vehicle Options, go to Menus Customs. So, there's nothing we could change in terms of bumpers or anything like that. There's nothing in Lowriders mod. There is liveries. There's quite a few of them. Which I think what I might do is change the colour first, because I don't think this yellow is going to suit most of these liveries. So, let's change that first and we'll have a look. But, of course, we have all the engines, brakes, transmission stuff. On the extras, we do actually have a couple of options. We have Extra 1, which just gets rid of the cage. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. And then Extra 2 adds in the seat. So you can have the interior as standard, or you can have it stripped out and race ready. So I might go for something like the police blue on this one. I don't know why, I'm just feeling that colour today. It's on the utility thing, so it's almost got like a tiny bit of satin on it, but it's still shiny. But if that actually, should we go for that or... No, actually, no, Maui Blue just looks a little bit too dark, a little bit too purpley. Yeah, I think Police Blue just for some reason works really nice for this one. Although, to be honest, the yellow was fine, but I just wanted to change it up a little bit. So on to the liveries then. We have the Retro livery, which just adds this nice stripe to the side. We have Retro 2, which just adds the double stripe with the gauntlet thing on the front. Then we have the black version. Then we have this different version with the stripe going all the way down. And then we also have this bit on the back arch bit, which says Hellhound on it. Not really a fan of that one. We have Retro 5, which just changes the whole top end of that to be black. Then we have the stripe, and then we have those stripes on the bonnet as well. Then we have the Gasser style, which again adds the black on the top. And then the big Hellhound writing and stuff on the side. These might be changeable in secondary colour, but I don't think so. Then we have the Dirt Trial Gauntlet, which just adds this little number on the side, little yellow down the bottom, and then these stripes on the bonnet, and also on the back as well. We have the Stuntman, which adds this sort of like American style one with these stars on it, with the big Hellhound logo as well going on there. Numbers, sponsors, all that sort of stuff. Then we have the Knight Rider version, which adds this sort of like zebra print style, again with all these numbers, and also I've just noticed this speed traps based on the Speed Hunters logo. Again, that's like a really cool lore-friendly thing that I like. Just like where they've taken something from real life and they've changed the names. So, yeah. And also, look, Tooligan right there. Tooligan, speed traps. I like that. That's really cool. Then we also have Ron Racing to finish if you wanted this to look like a proper racing car. Bravado. Put Ron in your tank. Ron Racing, number 78. And actually, that looks really nice with that blue. I've got to be honest. But actually, I like just the look of Retro 1. I think it's just a nice little extra. Looks really nice, and I think that makes it look really cool. And also, does that gauntlet... see, the gauntlet badge does appear on the back. I wish that bit wasn't there. Well, oh, I could have the Dirt Trial Gauntlet. Oh, mind you, I don't really like the numbers on the side. Yeah, Retro. We'll go for Retro. And that's that one. Pretty much done. Mind you, we could actually change the wheels. Should we change the wheels? I noticed that they're very deep on the rear, not so much on the front. Don't think that would translate if we were to change the wheels. Let's have a look. No, it doesn't really make it any sort of wider, but we do have V-stances, so we can actually just bring that rear bit out so that it is a bit closer to the arch, because when we change the wheels, it just really makes it all tucked in and doesn't look right at all. So I like these wheels, number 42. I've actually picked these wheels before. I'm actually a big fan of these wheels. I really love how they look. And I've also got some nice big thick tyres on them, which I think is suitable for this one. So we can jump out and go to V-Stancer, going to the suspension menu, and basically I'm just going to bring that out. Just so it's nice and close to the arches. There we go. That feels the arches a lot better. And then on the front, maybe I can move it out just a little bit. There we go. We could actually just add a tiny bit of camber, but I don't think we're going to, because that's just really going to affect it, and we don't really need it. Maybe we'll get a little bit more of a drop on the front. A little bit more down on the rear, and then just change that track width like that. Then on the front. There we go. That's that one all slammed down, all ready, completed. Lovely jubbly. Although when I move the tyre stick out, but it's, you know what, it's fine. Right, so let's move on then to the Picador. So here we are with the Cheval Picador. This is not actually based on a mod. This one is just the one from GTA 5, but I've spawned this in so we can have a nice base reference for us to compare with the brand new one. This is very shiny with that sun going on right there. So, now this is parked up, let's spawn in the modded Picador. And here they are together right here. As you can see, there is a big, massive change on the front between the two. So this one seems just a lot more detailed, whereas this just looks like an older style base model type Picador. And also, I just love the idea of like base model versions of cars, like where they just look as basic as they can. So I actually really like the front end of this thing, even though it is really basic looking. But this one definitely does have more detail to it. But on this one, it has the same sort of like double headlights thing, but it's got these square bits around the outside, which completely changes the front look. It makes it look like an older version. Maybe this is like an 80s version Picador, and this is like one from the 70s or something. I don't know. That's an interesting comparison. The front bumper, though, is pretty much identical. It still has the same plate, still has the same surround and chrome bits and everything else. Onto the side, they have the same wheels. This one has a badge right here, whereas obviously this one had it on the front because this one doesn't have a badge grille. This one's just got it nice and smooth. And then on the rear, you might notice a little bit of a change. This one has this whole like black bar thing with the chrome stripes going around it, whereas this just has the whole thing smoothed off with just Cheval in chrome badge text writing. And again, the bumper's pretty much the same. So this thing changes the tailgate and the front end, but it does add a few little extras as well, which also completely changes the way that the Picador looks. So if I jump in to vehicle options and menus customs, from the start you can see there's no actual sort of change in the front bumpers or anything like that. We can go to lowrider mods, there's no liveries or anything like that. But if we go down to extras, you will see that we have all these extras right here. So the first one is actually just the cover for this bit right here. So this actually brings it to be pretty much the same as that Picador, but obviously we could have the cover on it. Or if we didn't like that, we could have this cover right here, which actually makes it look like some sort of hearse almost, or like a two-door estate car, two-door wagon. Oh, I'm trying to think, what is that car? Oh my god, I've completely forgotten the name of this car. You guys are gonna have to remind me. It's an old American car, and it was sort of like, it was a two-door car with a big massive wagon on the back. So it was like a two-door station wagon, and you can get them really fast. I can't remember, I think they were Chevrolet, but the name has completely escaped me, so I don't even know right now. But that's what that reminds me of. So we can get rid of that. We can also add number 3, which adds this huge spoiler thing on the back. It's almost just really like a panel that's been bent up. And we can also couple that with that to get this nice smooth bit there. Then we have extra 11, which is actually just this phone holder and the cigarette holder, or we can have this one with the drinks holder. So as far as mods go, it's basically just this whole bit on the back. Add in that. We can actually have that and that as well, maybe. That sort of works, but you know what, not really. I think that's probably the coolest way that you can get this to look. So actually what I'm just going to do is I'm going to change the paint, change the wheels, and slam this one. Okay, so I think I'm going to go for worn colors, because again, these are quite old muscle cars, and you sort of expect them to have some sort of like worn out patina style paintwork or something like that, but at the same time, it's still sort of like looked after. So I'm going to go for the worn on this one instead of matte or anything like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and maybe just change the secondary to be exactly the same. I mean, let's just go. I mean, that's all right. What else does it change? But also the roof color. Yeah, do you know, I don't really think we're going to get a nice color to complement that. I mean, the black's not too bad. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I might just go without the stripes for this one. So there's all the paintwork done, and then let's just go on and change the wheels. And actually, these look like a nice match. Nice, basic, modern 5-spoke wheels. And then I'm just going to go ahead and go to V-Starter, go to suspension menu, and then just bring this out. In fact, let's just slam this as well, shall we? Oh, actually, should I put smoothies on this thing? Maybe instead of going for the modern wheels, I was thinking like, because like some of these like mini truck things, but this class as a mini truck, as an El Camino, it's very mini truck sized, so maybe it is. But like in the mini truck scene, I've noticed like a lot of things where you get like an old truck and then you just stick like these modern racing wheel sort of things on some of them, and then they slam them down. So that's a look that it definitely is in for a lot of people. I could just slam this down all the way to there, but I do have that wheel sticking through, but it's okay. I'll just get a bit of rear camber going on. There we go. If I could bring a bit more camber and bring that out as much as possible to about there. There we go. I might find that this is going to bug out, but never mind. We'll soon find out. And then I could bring these wheels out. That is very close to just completely filling up that whole thing, because these wheels are huge. But I'll go with a little bit of camber on that one, and then just tuck it in just a little bit. There we go. Like that. That's pretty much done. Or we can go down the smoothies route. Let me just add the smoothies, see what it looks like. Okay, I've added the smoothies, and actually this does have thicker tires on it, which makes it look slightly less cool, but it's still pretty cool. Then we can go to wheel color, and of course I want to make them red. There we go. And in fact, should we go for some white wall tires? There we go. That's it. Right there. That is like a hot rod inspired, slammed El Camino. Lovely jobby. This thing's actually pretty damn fast as well. I've got to say, I do actually prefer this to the original one. I don't know why, because the other one just seems to have more detail on the front end, but I just like this simplified front end for some reason. It just really appeals to me. And actually, I just remembered that I haven't checked out the interior of this, or did I check out what's under the bonnet of either this or the Gauntlet? So I'm going to do that in just a second. So on this one, it seems pretty much the same. Ah, this one's darker. I just noticed it does have a modern steering wheel to it. But this one's darker, and where's it gone? Whoop, it's over here. This one's lighter and actually looks really nice compared to the other one. This is definitely a nicer quality, higher res dashboard, it seems. Or just a better texture quality. I think that might just be it. And again, it has this weird modern wheel. I don't know why it has the modern wheel. That's kind of weird. Okay, so here they are with the bonnets up. And this does actually have a 3D engine. with all that stuff. It seems pretty much the same. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same underneath on that. And of course, this has this bit that goes down here, just like this one does here. Pretty much identical. Exactly the same. Okay, so as for the gauntlets, there is actually quite a big difference. So the standard one has this big V8 engine right here, but this one has this huge chrome beast under the bonnet. Look at that. And that is the cone filter that we can see through there as well, which is pretty cool. On this side, it's actually just empty. Just nothing. Just another little extra bit for all the air to go through. But have a look at that. That's beautiful. And then on the rear, this has basically just a big empty boot. The same as the original Gauntlet, but that is a nice improvement on the engine. I like that. So that leads us on to this thing right here. The final car. Let me just try and park this in. You might notice that, by the way, that's at full lock. That is how terrible this thing is for steering. I actually have to... Can I get that around? Oh, that's actually luck that I managed to get that right there. Maybe it was the fact that I didn't have very good steering that helped me there. But as you can see, this thing right here is the Picador drag car. This thing does actually do wheelies when it's tuned. So let's just try and compare this one to all the other ones from standard. So let's pop the trunk and the bonnet as well. And here we are. And as you can probably tell by the fact that these things were sticking out the top, this thing does have a completely different engine on it. And I like the fact that it does have the Chevelle on the rocker covers as well. That's a nice touch, because obviously these ones don't have any of that sort of stuff. This isn't really... It's only a slightly 3D engine. It's not a full 3D block. Well, actually, this is only the top end of the 3D block as well. Again, you don't even need to have the full thing. But there you can see, definitely a lot different to these two. And then again, it does have the same thing on the rear. But you might also notice that this has a few little optional extras, such as this massive roll bar here. And then on the interior, it still has that same weird modern wheel. But it does have all these racing seats, and it also has these bars as well as the netting. On the outside, this one has no front bumpers or no plates or anything like that, and it's got this little splitter down at the bottom. But again, apart from that, it is the same front end as this new one here. And then on the rear, it's actually, I need to close this bonnet up to see. And yep, of course, this is different once again. So this is the standard one where it has the Chevelle badge in the middle, and then it has this like black bit with the chrome. Whereas this one has the exact same badges, just without the black strip and the chrome, interestingly. And again, it of course has a different one to this one. So this is like the custom style one. This one is the racy one. This one's just your normal work truck type thing right there. So let's see what we can do to it. Let's go to vehicle options, menus, customs. Again, there's nothing in the way of like front bumpers, exhaust, spoilers, none of that sort of stuff. There's actually no liveries as well either. This one does have different wheels, because you might be able to notice that this has these wheels on the front and then these on the rear. I'm pretty sure, if I just go to wheels here, I don't think these are going to work. No, it just makes these ones actually float at the back there. So for this one, we do actually have to keep the wheels stock to get the full-on drag look with the big massive drag radials on the back and then the small wheels on the front. But if we go down, we should have some extras. We do have a couple of extras. So we have extra 2, which is just this bit on the side here for the driver's side. Extra 3, which is that netting for the passenger side, so we can either have it both 1 or none. I'm going to go for none for this one. On extra 11, what is this? I think this might just be the stuff on the dashboard. Yep, okay, it's that stuff which actually doesn't fit in with this one, because you might notice that all this stuff's been blocked off. It has no vents, it has no dials, it's got no radio. Compared to there, you can see this one has all that, but this one is completely all blocked off. And then we have extra 12 with the cup holder. But again, we don't want it because we want to lose all the weight possible. So, if we jump out and try to race this thing, actually this is perfect. We're in a nice open spot here. Let me just try and turn around. Again, this is full max turn. It just has a worse turning circle than even my Evo. I mean, and that has a terrible turning circle. Right, let's get that to there. And I don't think it will. But let's see if we can get a wheelie on the start. Or we can get a tiny little wheelie on stock power. But that's not enough. We need a lot more in terms of wheeling. So let's just bring this round. I did actually try to do a handbrake turn there. It did absolutely nothing. And then we're going to go and open up menus, customs, vehicle options, menus, customs. I'm just going to go to engine, upgrade 4, brakes. This is upgrade everything so we know that it's going to be as fast as it can be. We can also do the suspension, which just slams it down a little bit. Again, if that might just help us, we'll add that as well. And then we also need turbo right there. So, let's see. Can we do a wheelie? Oh, there we go. There's a proper wheelie. I reckon we can still do better than that, though. Maybe if we change the suspension and go back to normal, maybe it'll be soggier and will allow us to do a bit of a better wheelie. Let's see. Yes, there we go. That's the key. We need to make sure that we have the stock suspension. That's amazing. Let's try and see if we can get a cinematic shot of this one. Here we go. And there we go. Wheelie in. Oh, nice. Love it. And again, yeah, it can't turn. Oh man, this really cannot handbrake turn. This thing is ridiculous. Right, let's try this again. And wheelie. Oh, there we go. Into the bushes, into the rocks, because we can't turn. This thing really is absolutely ridiculous. You can't drive this on the road. Seriously, I'm going to go on the road and you can see it's impossible to drive. That's if I can even get to the road. You have to do like a 10-mile radius just to turn around. Right, here we go. Let's join the road. Going over that lane because it's impossible not to. And yeah, if I start going fast, look, there it is. I'm going full turn, by the way. That is a full hard turn on my controller, as you might be able to hear. And yeah, it's absolutely impossible. But there we go. This would be quite interesting to see if Rockstar were to add a car that adds wheelies, because that's a car that we don't really have. It's just something that Rockstar have never really added, unless I'm wrong. Did they add a wheelie car? I don't think they did they? I mean, having a proper drag car, like making something like this that would go insanely fast but couldn't turn, like a proper drag car, I think Rockstar should add that. It's just a nice little thing that I think we're missing in this game. Although I'm sure they'd probably charge like 10 million for it on online, and it would just be an absolute rip-off and be ridiculous, but whatever. But there's also the other ones. I would like for you guys to let me know which car is best, which one. If this was like an actual DLC, which one of these cars would you buy and use in-game? Would it be the Heist Gauntlet, maybe, if you wanted it to have the extra, like, jump ability that the Ruiner had, or maybe you just think the parachute's fine? Maybe it'd be the Hellhound. I imagine most of you would probably say the Hellhound. Or maybe it's one of the Picadors. Maybe you prefer this to the standard Picador. You can let me know all of that in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.